Thanks for everyone cracking into it. Look, from the Labor Party's perspective, this matter is now concluded and resolved. Caucus determined today to expel him from the caucus. That essentially means now he represents himself in Parliament. He is an independent, although of course he will of course continue to do constituency work across Hamilton West.
Why given that he came in under the umbrella of Labor, is that even fair for him to remain as an independent MP?
Oh, look, convention has held that in these situations the ultimate outcome is that whilst we have expelled him from the Labor caucus, that he continues to be an elected member of Parliament. And of course, the overwhelming sentiment from our caucus was one of sadness, but still, I was humbled by the fact that the team still wished him all the best for the future, and I hope now that he is able to focus solely on working with the constituents of Hamilton West.
He says he hasn't.
Caucus, our team rules are very, very clear. We're privileged enough to be elected to represent New Zealand and work hard on behalf of New Zealanders in this place. It does require a focus on the issues that matter, examples like the extreme weather events and COVID-19 recovery. Our rules set out that because we must focus on those issues, we need to ensure that we don't bring the party itself into disrepute and that we follow a process in raising concerns that happens within caucus and stays confidential to caucus. Both of those rules were broken.
Is he still a...
Yeah, ultimately the caucus rules do dictate that, look, in order to be able to operate together as a team, focus on the things that matter, we need to be able to trust one another. It was very clear from this decision that trust had been lost. Oh, I think it is a reasonable consideration. We, of course, have ruled it out in its totality, but it's not something now that we have had a large focus on. And there's been other examples in Parliament where, of course, individuals have remained as independents on the crossbenches.
Is he still a member
I'll come here and then.
The caucus...
I'll come back to you, Janice.
The caucus voted unanimously to refer him to the Labor Party Council.
Correct.
Do you expect to be kicked out of the party?
Oh, that is a member for the New Zealand Council of the Labor Party. So yes, caucus did vote to refer this matter now to the council. What they'll go through then is a process to determine whether or not any additional disciplinary action can be or should be taken. One of those options for them is whether or not he is expelled as a member of the party, which then affects his ability to ever run for Labor in the future. Jane. Look, in my view, there will be from time to time genuine need for by-elections. I think where possible, it's best to avoid them because it does cause unnecessary disruption and focus of resource into contests outside of an election cycle, and it does come at a cost. So if it can... A fair point. And so that's why we will have a buddy MP, someone who is a Labor MP, who will be assigned to Hamilton West. If there are those, for instance, who do not feel comfortable approaching Gaurav Sharma, they will have options in the seat. And that's something that we commonly do. Sorry, what was that? As I've said, I've already given the primary factors for us as a caucus. We haven't taken it off the table at this stage, but it wasn't at the fore of our thinking and consideration today.
What particular processes do you think need reviewing in light of what has happened over the last 13 days?
And so this has been one of the early examples of the implementation of the Francis Review, and it is important to remember we're only having this conversation because there were management issues within Gaurav Sharma's office that were repeatedly raised and it became difficult to resolve. And looking and reflecting on that process, my view is that whilst there are a number of reasons why, it was a process that took too long and that will have caused frustration for all those involved. I think it makes sense that given it's the early stages of responding to the Francis Review and implementing it, makes sense to go back and check and review whether or not it's working as anticipated. The other issue was the lack of engagement as well.
So that's a parliamentary service review then, isn't it? So do you
It's for
think
them.
it's for you to go to parliamentary service and ask them to
We can't instruct parliamentary services, and nor would we. It will be for them, but I know that they have been checking in on the implementation of the Francis Review. We've simply made the suggestion that this could serve as a case study.
do any of your processes, Labor Party processes, the way the PMO dealt with the chief whip, any processes there that you would like to see change?
No, so there was only one engagement with our office, and you can see from the communication there that it was essentially that engagement did come with resolution. It then bounced back to a PS whips process and continued to drag out. And so I think it would be to everyone's benefit, PSM whips, to just look more closely at the way those have run in practice.
So including within the Labor Party, there are processes within the Labor Party that you handled it.
No, not necessarily, Joe. It is a bit more complex than that, because it's not. PS have the ability to put a pause on hiring as well, and so it doesn't solely sit with one party, and this is one of the issues actually.
Who will be the
The other thing that I would add here is, as an independent MP, if Gaurav Sharma continues to believe that there are issues that he would wish to see inquired into, we offered independent mediation. He chose not to engage with that. There is, however, a standards commissioner that's now been put in place within Parliament. Should he wish to pursue any of these matters, he would be able to go to that commissioner. We would have no issue with that. We, however, did not wish to, in our circumstances, enter into inquiry because we saw no grounds to.
Who will be the buddy MP?
Sorry? Am I concerned? No, so there was only one person who voted against expulsion, and I do note that Gaurav Sharma was present and was able to vote. And look, there I would say, until 12 days ago, Gaurav Sharma had friends in that caucus. Today's caucus was an expression of real sadness that we'd arrived at this point. Does not surprise me at all that there will be those who are saddened that this is what it had come to.
Who will be the buddy MP in Hamilton West?
We need to just work that through. That's something, though, that now the decision's being taken, we will make sure that there is cover on behalf of Labor in the seat. Last two. Oh yeah, you, Amelia. Oh, I couldn't say because there were some proxies, so I couldn't say. But nor am I concerned about it. Nor am I concerned.
What do you make of the protest outside today and,
Look, our hope was that we would get back to a place where we're able to have here on Parliament grounds a peaceful and lawful protest. By all accounts, it appears to have been of that nature. And so, look, that's pleasing. Perhaps somewhat smaller than people may have anticipated, but ultimately peaceful and lawful. Thanks, everyone.